In honor of today's special Halloween celebration, we'll be taking a look at the scariest games in the world. Games so horrifying, I have to warn you now that some of what you're about to see is graphic. It's so shocking that... I just realized the title of this video is going to ruin this joke. I was doing this thing where I was gonna surprise you by saying that this is actually about the US election this year because it's been so frightening, but yeah, the title kind of gives that away, doesn't it? Ooh, scary. There are countless developers who have sought to use the ongoing nightmare in the United States to their advantage. We've even talked about one of these on a show a while back, in Trump Wall Simulator 2017. Do you see what they've done there? Yes, this wacky game looked like garbage and was clearly a joke, so I'm not going to waste anyone else's time talking about it again. Go check out our April Fool's episode of Crowdfunding Analysis Time for that. Yes, we really did used to call the show that. Oh, I guess I should also point out now that this episode is in no way political or intended to be viewed as some kind of political thing. I'm just talking about some games. Who I support in this election has nothing to do with how I view the quality of these games, and, yeah. So anyway, while it's easy to dismiss Trump Wall Simulator, it's harder to do so once you realize that it represents a majority of the games based on this election. In fact, almost all of them are some kind of comedy game. Most aren't even attempting to make any kind of point, instead just being edgy for the sake of itself. Like Political Knockout PKO Presidential Fighting App by Image 8 Studios, currently seeking funding on Indiegogo. This hilarious fighting game lets you play as any current American political figure, like Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, Benjamin Netanyahu, and Kim Jong-un, all vying for control of the White House. Despite it looking like a cheap, even crappy mobile fighting game, it's actually rather clever. You may have noticed that two of those fighters aren't actually American. And before you make your Obama was born in Africa, yuck yuck jokes, that's exactly the point. Also featuring Donald Trump, a prominent birther, this game ridicules the notion of closed borders and our insistence that only people born in an artificially defined plot of land can hold the highest office in the land. This game is seeking to tear down borders and show us that anyone from all over the world can become president of this nation. But what's the point? What's the point of nations anyway when we can have one unified global world where people like Kim Jong-un and Netanyahu don't need to exist at all? Or maybe it's just a cheap fighting game on Indiegogo trying to cash in on the election that no one has any interest in. Yeah, probably that one. Unlike Mobile Game Chow Down or Donkeys and Elephants on Kickstarter, being developed by a father and son team. Yes, this particular mobile fighting game is trying to build a bridge within a family and show that the worlds can all be together as one despite your Okay, I'm getting tired of this joke now. The game was actually from the 2012 election and claimed that it could predict the outcome of the election. Unfortunately, the campaign failed, so now I guess we'll never know who won the 2012 election, but we can look at it and wonder what if. In truth, it couldn't predict anything, of course. It's just one of those cheap mobile games that has you swiping your finger across the screen to control either a donkey or elephant to collect crap falling from the sky. It has about as much to do with the US presidential election as recent Kotaku articles have had to do with game journalism. Oh, another PewDiePie article followed up by a video of someone doing something slightly amusing in Overwatch? And a reminder that cheap knockoff toys exist? Thanks, Kotaku! Now I want to shift gears and look at some games that seem to actually be half decent. There aren't many, only two, but they deserve talking about because there's actually something to say about them. Isn't that nice? Bernie's Journey is a game about, what else? The loving gay relationship between Bert and Ernie. Wait, what? Oh, this is about Bernie Sanders. Oh well, that's not as interesting, is it? Yes, much like Ron Paul, the internet senpai Bernthal Sanders is getting his own game. Was getting his own game. Well, is, but I mean, it's already been kickstarted is what I mean. Oh, you say you're unfamiliar with the Ron Paul game? Okay, we can take a slight detour. Ron Paul: The Road to Revolution was, fittingly, launched April 1st, 2012 during that year's US election. It met its funding goal in just 3 days and ended up taking in over $11,000. Remember, this launched shortly after Kickstarter exploded in popularity, and just about any campaign could succeed with even a half-decent idea and nothing but text on the campaign page. Which, let's be honest, was the case for Ron Paul: The Road to Revolution. Not to mention a developer who had no idea what they were doing. The Kickstarter page is just walls of text explaining the game, with no screenshots and just the pitch video to go on. The video, well, you can tell this is a 2012 Kickstarter campaign. It begins with the developer, simply known as Daniel, sitting in his room, a Ron Paul poster behind him, because of course, before showing, oh my.
But if there's a game about Ron, it's gotta be awesome. So I dug out my old console favorites, I replayed them, and tried to harness their awesomeness.
This was never going to be a good game. The developer had little to no experience making games, the Kickstarter didn't have anything to show for itself, and the reward tiers cost too much money. Not for backers, but for the developers. I hate to say it, but I think this one reaching its funding goal really did come down to politics and people just trying to make some kind of point. Needless to say, it didn't end well. After a year or so of development, the game went nowhere, and Mr. Daniel spent most of the money just trying to get rewards, t-shirts in particular, made and shipped. The last update came in January 2013, in which the developer talked about running out of funds, and that he actually stopped development a while before that even. Since then, the developer has gone silent, just like the Kickstarter page. Which leads us into Bernie's Journey. This one collected only $2,869. Nice. The page has a stirring opening gambit by developer Gerald Smith. Hello, my name is Gerald Smith, but you can call me Jerry. I am also an underground hip-hop artist named Necro G and hardcore gamer. I am 32 years old, and have been gaming since Atari and a television. I absolutely love RPGs like Final Fantasy and Dragon Warriors, etc. Given that it's written like that, I can only assume it's a poem. But he's a hardcore gamer, everyone, so you know this is legit. I also have a deep love for Bernie Sanders and his amazing journey this year. So much has gone on, so many devious acts and evil people have tried to stop him as well. I have plans to put this into a video game. That's right, anyone running against Bernie Sanders is evil. That's how politics work in 2016. Imagine battling— I don't know why he randomly capitalizes letters like that. Imagine battling Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton in an RPG fight alongside Bernie supporters like Jane Sanders, Tulsi Gabbard, Jeff Weaver, Killer Mike, Rob Reich, and Jill Stein, and more. Who is Killer Mike, and why should we be taking his word on who to vote for? Also, I'm pretty sure Jill Stein isn't supporting Bernie if she's running for president too. Just saying. With all of that preamble out of the way, let's go on to the real troubling part of this Kickstarter. Don't worry, there isn't much left. We've already gone over half the page, believe it or not. It has always been my dream to make my own games, and now I am making that dream come true. I, with my own money, have already purchased the software needed to make this game. I will personally be making this game alone, which is why I have set the delivery time as not until late 2017. This is my first game, and I am not sure how long it will take. It may actually get done sooner, as I have been and will continue to work on this every day. Apparently that sounds like someone people wanted to give about $3,000 to. I mean, just look at the world maps. If that doesn't scream quality, I don't know what does. Yes, as you can see, it's just an RPG Maker game. Not that there's anything wrong with that. There have been some really great games using the RPG Maker engine. Some you may not even realize, like Corpse Party and Cherry Tree High Comedy Club. Now to be fair, Mr. Hardcore Gamer Smith is giving frequent updates. He gave 3 in July and 1 in September, all post-success. Though there is a worrying comment left by Smith. He says that Elizabeth Warren, a US Senator and Democrat, was originally a good guy, but turns evil after she supported Hillary Clinton. That pretty much perfectly sums up this election, doesn't it? In fact, Bernie Sanders himself has pledged support to Hillary Clinton since this Kickstarter went up, so I wonder what that means for this game. And finally, we have President Forever 2016 for Mac, a game for Macs. It's a simulator game where you pick one of the candidates from either the 2016, 2012, or 2008 election, and you have to get them to win by giving speeches, fundraising, spinning the news, and making sure audio of you bragging about sexual assault doesn't get released to the public. President Forever 2016 is the most in-depth, intense political election game ever made. Using realistic electorate modeling techniques, an unprecedented number of options, and detailed candidates, this is big time. So far, it's only been available on Windows. This Kickstarter is about getting President Forever 2016 on Mac as well. Raising 6,793 Canadian dollars in 2013, about 5,000 US dollars, the game was completed a while ago actually, not that you'd know by looking at the Kickstarter updates. The last update came in 2014 and was just a link to the developer's website with a screenshot. But the game is finished now and was renamed President Infinity, which is still a terrible name, frankly. And that's really all there is to this one. I'm not big on these kind of simulators, but this one does look well made, at least with plenty of options and mechanics. It might not be the most visually appealing thing in the world, but it's got Donald Trump's face in it, so you can't blame the developers for that. So much for not getting political there, huh? Oh well, that's happened sometimes when you got human beings with opinions and things. So, if you enjoyed that, why not go ahead and back us on Patreon? You just go ahead and type in Cliqist there and you can give us some money. Yeah, that's how that works. Or you could just check out Cliqist.com for all the latest news, like about that butt game on Kickstarter, or some other games.